Hey, I thought I'd do a quick mini port review on Warriors Orochi 4 PC. Now, I don't have like super high-end equipment and stuff like that, so this is going to be a little less in-depth than probably what you're used to from stuff from like Digital Foundry. But I have about 7 hours in the game. I have played through about half of it. I got the game like just barely 3 days ago, and I've had some other stuff to do, so I haven't had a whole lot of time. But let's just get to the important stuff. Now, it does go up to 1440p. I don't know if it goes higher than that. I only have a 1440p monitor. However, I tried running this at 1080p on max settings, and it was just, it played a lot like the base PS4 version, where it was struggling to maintain 30 FPS. I have a pretty decent rig, so I feel that I should be able to run it on max settings. However, medium settings, for what it's worth, it seems to be pretty much on par with the PS4 Pro, so you know, if you want to just have something on par with that, you know, console's performance, then it shouldn't be an issue. All I really had to do was knock it down to 900p, and I just turned off some of the other unimportant stuff, like the grass and the fog. Dynasty Warriors 9, Muso Stars are pretty much the same way. If you turned off a lot of that stuff, you could get a pretty stable 60 FPS. I have still noticed a lot of problems with if you have the flame ability on your weapon, it does tank the frame rate quite a bit. Likewise, if you're on one of the levels that goes on fire, there's a couple levels like that in this game, especially towards the later half of the game, then it does tend to hitch quite a bit, but I don't really know if that's an issue or not. It doesn't really bother me that much. It's isolated enough that it's not an issue. However, unlike Dynasty Warriors 9, you cannot run it at an uncapped frame rate, meaning it won't go above 60 FPS. You can lock it to 30 or 60. So if you want to run it on high settings, the game seems like it's pretty demanding. I'm not sure if it's just poorly optimized or not. Then you can just go ahead and lock it to 30, and it should be a pretty good experience. But if you're looking for 60 FPS, it might be an issue. I don't know if they're going to do a day one patch or not. I am recording this about a day and a half before it's going to be publicly released. So there's a chance that they might do more optimization. Obviously, you know, I can't really talk to anybody else about this game right now. Nobody else I know has the PC version, so it may just be my computer. But Dynasty Warriors 9 was a very demanding game as well. Even after the optimization patch for that, I still had to knock it down to 900p for it to run at a pretty consistent 60 FPS. So once again, I have the characters on high and pretty much everything else on medium. I turned off a lot of the pointless stuff. Some of this stuff did seem to impact the performance quite a bit. I'll have to do more experimentation later, but I know this is what people are most interested about on the PC version. So you go ahead and go into a mock battle here. Now, I've tried to get my XSplit Gamecaster to broadcast the frame rate on my videos, but for some reason that doesn't work. But I can basically tell you it's hovering around anywhere from 57 to 55 frames per second. Certain effects seem to just tank the frame rate. I don't really know why. Feels like they need to do a patch or something, but it's not like it's unplayable. I could probably lower things a little more. Maybe if I put it down to 720p, I could probably get it to not have any hitches at all, but I don't really feel like I should have to do that. For all intents and purposes, I have a rig that should more than be capable of running this at least high settings without any kind of problems, but unfortunately, it does seem to hitch quite a bit. So let me go ahead and go into an actual battle so you can see what it looks like. Overall, I've had a much better experience with this than Dynasty Warriors 9 at release. I had to fight with that game a ton just to get it to run at all. With this, it was pretty much just, I probably spent like maybe 10 to 15 minutes just finding the settings to let me run it at 60. The random hitches are really annoying. I'm not really sure what could be causing it. I don't really have anything running on the computer right now. You can see it's pretty stable. It's mostly like when effects go off that it seems to tank a little bit. How noticeable it is depends on how sensitive you are to frame rate. You know, some people can notice like 55 frames per second and stuff like that. I personally can't. You know, as long as it's around 50 frames or so, like I'm pretty satisfied. But I do feel that the optimization should be better. Now, likewise, the PS4 version, you know, that runs like barely 30 FPS. It feels very clunky. Whereas this, it hitches sometimes. You know, I don't have the greatest computer out there. I'm gonna go ahead and post my my specs in the description, and I'm pretty sure most people will agree I should be able to run this without any problems at all. But I still had to knock it down quite a bit. Now I'll go ahead and I'll show you what happens when I try to put it on like 1080p or high settings. Like, you're noticing it hitching a lot more. 900 to 1080p is like not that much of a difference, but for whatever reason on Koei games it seems to make the game run a lot better on my PC. I can tell you from experience, I did play the Japanese version of this thanks to a friend, and playing it at 60 FPS is like a night and day difference in terms of how enjoyable the game is. So, in my opinion, you definitely are going to want to aim for 60. Now, if I put it on high, you're gonna see pretty much what it runs like on base PS4, which is not ideal, to put it nicely. And now it's like a slideshow. It's pretty much what it runs like on the PS4. So overall, you know, if you're willing to knock down your settings a little bit, kind of swallow your pride of your PC and knock it down, it runs fine for the most part. But if you're looking for like max settings, you know, 4K and stuff like that, then it's going to be a pretty disappointing port overall. I think they just need to optimize it a little bit. I feel like I shouldn't need to knock it down at all with my rig. I could be wrong. I don't have the best CPU. Like I said, go ahead and check my description and my comments for my rig if you want to see my specs and stuff like that. But like I said, I just knocked it down to 900p. I turned off some useless stuff and that fixed it. I'm sure there will be more detailed, you know, guides and stuff like that for how to make it run, but I had the same problem with Dynasty Warriors 9 and Musou Stars. However, this was a lot easier to get running than Dynasty Warriors 9 for sure. I was not able to get a stable 60 FPS on Dynasty Warriors 9 at all until the recent patch that they did like last month, and even then I still needed to knock it down to 900p. So it seems like it's still poorly optimized. Chances are they're probably on the same engine actually, so that would probably explain why. If you know, I just changed the same settings pretty much that I did on DW9, and I got it to run at 60. Hopefully we'll have more information later on. If they do any optimization patches, I'll let you guys know, but for now, like I said, I just had to tinker with it a little bit, and I had a much more enjoyable experience than the base PS4 version, so at least there's that. Anyway, hope this helps you guys make a, you know, educated purchasing decision, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.